Hey kiddos, it is Mr. King again. I'm going to be doing a lesson here that I actually got from Miss Ham, the last art teacher, that's how to draw and illustrate like this cartoon owl. So first we're going to start with the letter U. I'm going to redraw this over and over here so you can see the steps as I'm doing them. And the next time I draw it here, the next step is to add a dot in the middle of your U at the top. And then from that dot, you are going to be making kind of this sideways, very flattened S. Or it just kind of looks like an eyebrow. And that's really what it is. It's going to be the eyebrow on the top of your owl. So you do that going both ways in a mirror image, so opposite directions the same way. And you will make the top of your owl. And so we're going to do that a couple times here over and over, and the next step after that will be to go just below the dot on either side and to add some large circles, and those will be the eyes of your owl. And we know owls are out at night, so they've got big eyes, so you can make them pretty big. I mean, you can go bigger than I did right there. Just some basic dots in the middle of them will help you finish out the eye. And in this next to last version right here that I'm drawing right now, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing, except once I've finished with the eyes, I'm going to put on a beak. So the beak is really, really simple. It is just a V that you curve the top of to connect it. If you want to make a flat line going across the top so it looks like a triangle pointing down, that's totally fine too. I like putting two little dots there too for the nostrils, because beaks do have nostril holes that owls and other birds have, and that's just a little bit more realistic, a fun little detail. And then now we're going to do the feet on the bottom, and the feet are just going to be these like little tiny kind of almost like duck feet on the bottom here. But you can make yours any way that you want. There's really no wrong way to do bird feet. You can do just three curved lines that come out, so it looks like little tiny kind of stick feet, or you can do them more like talons, because owls do have talons. They can grab. They're hunting birds. They're predatory. So the last version of the owl here I'm going to add all the detail to. You can see I messed up on this eye here and redid it because mistakes do happen. So get that eraser handy. Make sure you've got a pencil to start these drawings. But after I do this eye, this time I'm actually going to do some circles on the inside of the eye after I've done the beak here. And I'm going to add a little detail. I'm going to add this kind of texture to the eye feathers around, because some owls do have like reflective feathers around the eye to bring more light in. So add those little details, and you can be creative with them. You could just add, any kind of flourish that you want to make yours look a little bit more unique. But you see, the texture just adds, I think, something really kind of cool to the drawing. And after I get that done, one of the next things I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make a feather texture on the lower part of my owl. So I'm going to separate the head from the body with this neckline right here that curves underneath the beak. And then I'm going to create feathers by creating U's that just bump along that line, kind of like petals on a flower. And once I've done one row, I'm going to add another below it that connects to the top row. And you can see how I'm doing that. So you're just kind of trying to copy the way that I do it, but you can make those feathers really long or really short. And this is going to make it look like the feathers are layered one over the top of the other. And it makes it look like a real kind of bird feather texture. And it's really a neat thing. When we're all done, we're going to add some color to that. But before we do that, we're going to do the feet on the bottom and the wings on the side here. So the wings, you could just draw a line coming down from about where the eyes are that curves pretty close to the body, and then just connect it up with a flat line at the bottom to make it look like the feathers are kind of, or the wings are resting on the side of your bird. Add those feet on just like we talked about before, and then the one other detail I'm adding here is going to be a large branch for my owl to be sitting on, because it's at rest, so it should be sitting there. Now, if I wanted to, I probably should have drawn the side of the tree here and done the kind of owl hole, like the actual spot where the owl lives in it. But I didn't. But I did add the moon, which is a nice little detail up over his shoulder, because remember, they're out at night. And then I'm gonna kind of add some finishing touches on here, some stripes on the wings. And then also I'm going to close off the ends of the log, or the branch that the bird is on, because I need to make sure that when I add my color, since I'm using the computer and I am not using markers, colored pencils, or crayons like you guys might be, and by the way, remember, mix them together. use your colored pencil over your marker, use your marker over your colored pencil, use your crayons over your marker. Just don't draw on top of crayon with marker because that can really mess your markers up. But combine them together, make some beautiful colors. I've capped these off because I'm going to be dotting in, like I'm going to be filling spaces with color using the computer. So I'm going to do my background first. I'm going to choose kind of a deep, deep blue for the night sky. And then I'm going to go with some colors that are not as shocking as you might be used to me using. I'm going to use some kind of purples and pale oranges and yellows and some kind of greenish blues here. And funny enough, I used kind of that tannish color for the moon here, and I just decided, I was like, that doesn't quite look right to me, so I made it more kind of white yellow. And that's okay. You can make some mistakes as you go along. The one thing I'll let you know is it's always good to test out your color a little bit first, so just use a little bit of it and kind of see if you like it. Because with markers especially, all you can really do is go darker. So I'm going to use this green to fill in the feathers. One thing I like to remind kids, and you guys especially, is that when you're coloring, don't just color switch, color switch, color switch, color switch. Color the same color a couple different times, kind of scattered around, and you will save yourself a lot of time and that clicking back and forth on and off of the marker caps. That can really wear down your markers, and it's going to make your drawings go a lot quicker, and you're going to get more done and draw with more color. So I'm going to do purple. Remember, I'm going purple, 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 kind of scattering it around. I'm going to keep throwing in some other colors that kind of go pretty well with that. A little bit kind of this, I don't know, maybe a maroon here that I'm putting in, kind of like somewhere between brown, red, and purple. And so I'm going to throw these colors down. I'm going to fill in all of my owl. There's another mistake right there. So again, mistakes happen, and you just got to deal with it. So I'm going to fill in the stripes on his arm, and eventually I'm going to have the entire owl colored in. Now there is one more trick to finishing this drawing. So one thing I will point out, try not to leave much white. If you notice when I'm all the way done with this in just a minute, there will be very, very little white. The only white will actually be around the eyes. But the other thing I want to let you know is that adding in the last finishing details on this that I'm going to do once I'm done with the feathers is going to be add lots and lots of stars to the background. And I think that really just, if you have this totally colored, if you've got it all finished out on a piece of paper, guys, add a little bit of that extra detail with the stars, and it just looks great. So when you want to do that, there's a trick, though, to make it a lot easier on you. Because you've already colored the background, what are you going to do to add stars? Well, here's where you're going to need to hunt something down in your house. Try to find either some white tempera paint. Your parents will know what I mean when I say tempera paint. White washable paint, finger paint, any sort of white paint, or a yellow paint will work too, okay? Anything you got, any sort of paint, acrylic will work fine too. Just make sure you have your parents' permission that it's kid-safe paint. And so you can ask them, Mommy, Daddy, do I have any paint? And they can let you know, or Grandma, Grandpa, whoever you're asking. But the other thing you can use too is if your parents or your siblings or your grandparents or whoever you're with right now have whiteout. Whiteout is paint, so you're just going to grab that too. Again, that one you're going to want to have some help with. You don't want to do it on your own, but you're going to make dots all over with a toothpick or a shish kebab skewer or even the end of a pencil. And that is just going to make these really beautiful stars. You're going to make this awesome starscape. And as you can see, once you've done enough of them in the background, it looks really cool. This is like a neat little drawing. So, props to Miss Ham for showing me how to draw an owl this way. Get to pass that along to you guys. And I hope you guys enjoy kind of creating that and make them unique in your own in that way. So we'll be doing some more drawings coming up soon, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I miss y'all. All right? Bye-bye.